Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I was about to start this live in Spanish because I usually do Spanish and then English. But regardless, here we are. I'm here with Francisco.
Hello, everyone. Very, very excited to be here with you all like we are every week. Today, we have prepared one of, if not the most requested topic for today's live stream. We're going to be talking all about scholarships, how they work, who gives them out, how to get them. So let us know in the comments if you are if you have been watching us before, or if this is your first time joining one of our live streams. Because the more engagement we get in the comments, the more the algorithm pushes live streams like this, the more people we can help out. It helps us grow, bring more content to you. So yeah, let us know. But today we're going to be talking about how to win scholarships, right?
Exactly. So what to do this year, 2024 school year, 2024-2025, to win scholarships. It is a new year. Most students have started school this week or last week, or they will be starting next week or the week after. It really does depend on which state you live in, but we're here in Florida. Florida schools, most schools already started. Colleges are already starting to have their move-in days. I was talking to one of our students, Sophia, and I will share the video here on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, so you guys can see it. She sent me a video from her dorm at NAU, and she seemed really, really excited. And I don't know, it took me back to when I first moved into college, and that really exciting time, and just a lot of fun things happening. So yeah, happy back to school. And I hope that this school year is the best one yet. I hope that you guys all start with the right attitude, on the right foot, and on the road to having great grades, being super involved, and winning scholarships for college. And today we will be talking about some of the things that you should be doing to maximize those odds of winning scholarships for college. Because, a lot of people tell us that it's impossible, or you can't really go to school here in the US, or it's a waste of time to go to college because of how expensive it is, because of student debt. And yes, student debt is a huge, huge issue. It's one of the biggest debts in the United States. But with the right planning, with the right research, strategizing, you can go to a great institution paying as little as possible, which is, again, what we're talking about today. What to do this year to win scholarships. And in order to win scholarships, Francisco, you have to know what opportunities or what type of money is out there. So the first thing that both parents and students need to be aware of is the different types of financial aid and scholarships that are available, and how they work, how to apply for them, when students can have access to them. So that's the first point that we want to cover. What are the 4 types of financial aid and scholarships available for students?
Right. Yeah. We can't apply to something that we don't know exists. So yeah, first off, let's start off by letting everyone know where they can get money for college from. Okay. There are 4 sources, or there are 4 entities that will give your students money to pay for their education. There is the federal U.S. government. There are the states, the state where you went to high school with. If you stay in college within the same state, there might be state-sponsored programs that could give you money to finance your education. Then there are private scholarships, which is usually what most people think about whenever they think of a scholarship. You write an essay, you send your grades, and maybe, Coca-Cola, Burger King, whatever the case might be, will offer you some sort of grant or some sort of scholarship to pay for college. Different amounts, different processes, because they're at the private level. But that is private scholarships. And then the 4th type of aid for college, arguably what we consider here at Best College Aid the most important, or at least, the best bang for buck when you do a cost-benefit analysis of the effort that it takes to receive it versus what you get out of it, is institutional awards, right? So going by parts. Federal aid given out by the federal government requires certain forms to be filled out, primarily the FAFSA, CSS profile. Those get filled out usually October, pending some weird years like last year's and potentially this year. State aid, as I mentioned before, you might need to get some merit. We're going to be talking about merit and how to accumulate it later on. Private scholarships, as I mentioned, they have their own policies on what you have to do to be able to acquire or earn those awards. And then finally, institutional aid. I was looking at some data when I was preparing a presentation last week, and it turns out that last academic school year, 53% of all the money that was distributed to students in the forms of grants or scholarships came from institutional awards. So even though there's four of them, half of all money given to students came from the institutions themselves. And something that we've talked about extensively in other live streams is the fact that different schools have different levels of generosity. Not all schools are going to cover the same amount of financial aid and scholarships as every other school, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that when we fill out or when we are making a list of colleges, we bring that into consideration just as much as we bring up what careers they offer, right? So something that I want to, if you don't remember anything that we talk about or anything else from this live stream, I want this to be sort of like a call to adventure or a big heads up, because to this day, if you see our Instagram and you go into our Facebook and our TikTok, we get DMs, we get messages every day of people saying, oh, my student graduated from high school in May and he didn't get any scholarships, didn't apply to college. What can I do? Or, in the months of May, April, we'll get those same comments from people that are graduating. So if you're the parent or if you're a student yourself who is, yes, if you're in middle school, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, that's even better. But if you're in 12th grade, what I want you to understand is that the entire college application and scholarship application process is still up in the air and it's still open, because early action, early decision, all those earliest deadlines are still coming up in the coming months. October 16th is the earliest sorts of applications that you can submit. But then there are also the financial aid deadlines that, whether it's the CSS profile or the FAFSA, will open up October 1st. So all this to tell you that if you want to find generous schools and apply to them and capitalize off the higher acceptance rates from early action, early decision, you are still on time. So again, if you don't remember anything else from this live stream, the 4 types of financial aid and scholarships, how to make the list of schools I will talk about earlier. The one thing that I do want you to remember is that it is still time to get started, even if you have done nothing or your student has prepared nothing, but you have to do something about it right now. And the first thing to do, or the most bang for buck and things that you can do, is make that list of colleges only composed of schools that are generous. With our best college aid students, we teach them within our methodology and inside our course that if a school does not satisfy, as a minimum, 75% of the demonstrated financial need of the household, we shouldn't consider it. We should only prioritize schools that will satisfy that demonstrated financial need, so that if they accept us, they can offer us money and we can pay for it, right? So those were, I know I took a little bit of a side tangent, but it's important after understanding federal, institutional, state, and private aid to also understand that institutional awards are the most important ones, and that you can start making that list of colleges right now. You should, if you have not already done so. I wanted to start off with that. And on that topic, I believe, Laura, the next point of conversation is precisely about that list of colleges. So you want to take it away?
Yeah. So I always say to my students, I've said it here in social media, live streams, I believe that the most important part, in my own personal opinion, of the college application process and what's going to make or break whether or not your student gets accepted to college with scholarships is that process of creating a list of colleges and universities. And it's not just, slapping a bunch of school names into a list and applying to random schools that, oh, my best friend is applying to UF and my other one's applying to UT Austin. And then I have another one that is my mom went to UC Berkeley, for example. These are all great schools, but the student doesn't even know what majors they offer, if they're generous, or if they even offer the extracurriculars that they seek, right? So there are over 3,000 colleges and universities in the United States. A lot of these schools are very generous. And these universities, the ones that might be really generous, offer obviously different types of programs, different majors, different extracurriculars. Just because a school is generous doesn't mean that they're going to offer the extracurricular that you want to participate on, right? Or just because a school has a great college team, football team, doesn't mean that they're going to be very generous and award a lot of financial aid and scholarships for students. So it's important to do your job and do that really hard work and that investigating when it comes to creating a list of colleges, because again, there are so many opportunities that are out there. And unfortunately, students, a lot of them, when they're seniors, they are not aware and they don't even know that all these schools, all these colleges are out there. So it's important that students take their time. And I believe that this process could start as early as, I don't know, freshman year, sophomore year, because with looking up schools and with creating a list of colleges comes a lot of trying to find who you are, trying to find what you want as a student. Maybe there's going to be scenarios where there is a family vacation over spring break or over summer, and there's an opportunity to go do a campus visit, and this happens when the student is in middle school, right? Or I mean, yeah, like ninth grade, 10th grade. So this is a process that the earlier the student starts it, the better. And also, here comes demonstrated interest, going to school, meeting with potential teachers, or meeting with guidance counselor, or with an alumni from that school, to really show that school that you want to go there, right? There's a lot of steps and there's a lot of parts of this process, which we will later on explain how Best College Aid and how we help our students navigate that process, because it can be a bit overwhelming, but if it's done right and if it's done on time, it can have amazing results. So creating a list of colleges, super important, very beneficial. And by doing that research and by using those online tools to kind of create a list of colleges, to see what's out there, to create a profile as a student, and to see which schools match your extracurricular needs, your academic needs, and your financial aid needs. That is when students are going to find the best option for them, and they're going to end up at the schools that offer what they are looking for. Because there's also a lot of scenarios, Francisco, where students don't create this list. Maybe they go to a school that's, I keep saying Florida because we're in Florida. Their whole life, they were like, oh, I have so many friends that want to apply to FSU. And they don't even research if they they do have a good theater program. It's actually amazing. So let me see what other programs. Maybe they don't even have a specific sports team or a sport that they practice, and they apply to the school, or they set their mind to the school, and when they get to senior year, they realize that they cannot even play that sport at that school. They cannot even go to the recruitment process because that FSU doesn't have that specific sport. So it's important to start this as early as possible. And if we have, and I saw a couple of ninth graders, 10th graders, this process can start now. Again, we also have some seniors or parents of seniors. It's not too late, like Francisco explained. There's still some time to obviously create that list and research. It's going to have to be a little quicker, and you're really gonna have to dedicate a lot of time to it. But not a lot of time, but do it not last minute per se. But you're not gonna be starting from freshman year, right? But it is a very important part of the process.
Absolutely, yes. And the name of the game is, going back to the 4 types of financial aid and scholarships that we mentioned. The name of the game, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty as to, once you submit your private scholarship award, is the board or the private company that's going to, give out the funds going to select you? Or if we apply to a school, how much is the financial aid award office going to, offer you as far as institutional financial aid? But both of what Laura and what I have been trying to get at is within the realm of what is in your control. The examples that Laura gave was applying to schools that have a track record of satisfying at least 75% of demonstrated financial need. Let's make sure that everything that is in our control as far as requirements to qualify for these awards, we complete. So let's apply to the general schools. If there are federal aid awards that we need to, fill out the FAFSA for, or the CSS profile for institutional aid, or accumulate merit, which is what I'm going to be talking about later on, well, let's make sure to take the SAT or ACT. I saw there was a question about it in the comments somewhere. Basically, what we want to get at is, let's make ourselves as eligible as possible for all the different awards that are at our disposal. And then we can have peace of mind knowing that, okay, we didn't leave any money on the table. So in the spirit of not leaving money on the table, the next point that we want to talk about, once you understand the 4 types of financial aid and scholarships, like we explained, once you apply to the general schools, like Laura mentioned, let's go ahead and make sure that we accumulate merit. Why do I say this? Because money will be given to a student for one of 2 reasons. Money will be given to a student either because they have financial need or because they have some sort of merit. It can be academic merit, it can be extracurricular merit, it can be, volunteering, it can be taking several APs, it can be getting good grades. So what I want to talk about is the importance of accumulating merit through extracurriculars, because yes, there is obviously the benefit of increasing the competitiveness of your college application. If you have X amount of years practicing this extracurricular, or you have a passion project, or you have a sport you've been doing for a long time, maybe you could even be recruited for college, whatever the case might be, the extracurricular activities have value for themselves. But then when you think about them in the context of getting scholarships, you can get institutional awards if you are recruited for a sport, like my brother David did as a D1 athlete. Laura was into theater, and you went to college and they extended you a scholarship for being in the theater program. I got a scholarship at a private level from Comcast. It was their Young Leaders and Achievers Award for being and having a title within student government when I was in high school. So those extracurriculars not only translated to a more competitive college application, but they translated to tangible, awards that you received. But to be able to receive those awards, you had to accumulate the merit. That was the prerequisite to be able to qualify for those awards. So as long as your student is diving into, theater, into sports, into whatever their niche interests are, inadvertently, whether they're doing this, ideally, the earlier they do this, the better. Well, they'll be making themselves indirectly eligible for more funds at the merit-based level. And then we'd combine that if you have financial need at the household level or with the other sorts of scholarships that you could accumulate, we combine them all. And then all of a sudden, we're eligible for federal aid, institutional aid, state aid for both need and for merit, because we took the time to put the basis in to make ourselves eligible, or as eligible as possible, for as many awards. Okay, so that is kind of the main points that we wanted to touch on scholarships. I don't know if you want to add anything before we go to the next section.
Yeah, no, it's important to, like you said, basically create a resume throughout high school. And so by the time that the student is in senior year, they can show, if a college admissions officer looks at their extracurriculars, just kind of like their portfolio or everything that they did, if they just analyze their clubs, the classes that they took, maybe their leadership positions inside those clubs and those teams, it can tell its a story in its own, right? You obviously, they will read those college essays, and once that time comes, the student can even talk about those things that they did, the lessons that they learned in extracurricular activities. But college admissions officers, they are able to see and know a lot about a student's character, a lot about a student's mindset and their determination based on those activities that they did and their involvement. Because when the student is a senior and they're filling out those college applications, there's going to be an opportunity for them to basically list everything that they did, the awards they won, how long they did it for. So that's more technical, but it basically just, like Francisco said, you want to market yourself and you want to tell a story. So yeah, extracurricular is super important. And not to mention, again, playing a sport, doing an art. Like you said, I did musical theater throughout high school, but when it was time for me to apply to college, I looked for schools. Back to creating a list of colleges, the colleges on my lists were schools that offered theater programs, and then I also looked for schools that could possibly maybe give me a scholarship if I wanted to continue to do theater as an extracurricular. I auditioned for some programs. I was offered scholarships, and I ultimately went to my school, Marist College, with a theater scholarship. So you know, great opportunity also if the student does want to continue participating in this activity in college. It could also lead to scholarships, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I want to go ahead. Now that we've covered a lot, I know that there's some comments. We can get to those after the end of the presentation. But what I wanted to do now is, because every week we have students or we have parents who ask us if we offer more personalized advising or how our best college aid. Because I know throughout the presentation we mentioned our students, our students for people who are looking for more personalized advising beyond a random live stream that came on their Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. We do have a program where we teach families, students, how to send their kids to college with scholarships. The way that it works is, once you join the Best College Aid program, which again, private college counselors charge thousands upon thousands of dollars for their advising. It's kind of like a lawyer service in the traditional industry. I know our parents paid $10,000 for a private college counselor for us. What we did is we took everything that we learned, plus our experiences through college, our experiences working in the admissions office, our respective schools and in higher education, and turned it all into an online program based primarily on a course, based on a 4-year high school planner that tells you what to do every month of every year. And then that's the what to do. The how to do it is based on the video tutorials, on the courses, on the lessons. And then when you inevitably have questions, that's when the personalized support comes in the shape of email and chat. You'll have an opportunity to write to us via our personal emails, me and the rest of the counselors, to, again, go visit your questions as you watch along and as you complete all of the modules and the methodology that we teach inside Best College Aid. So that's the summarized version of how it works. The program also includes study materials for the SAT and the ACT. It includes monthly Q&A sessions for members. The next one is on Friday at 1 p.m. This program also includes discounts for AP crash course materials, books to prepare for the AP exams. And we have a partnership with Dell Technologies. If you want to buy any of their, computer equipment, laptops, monitors, whatever the case might be, you can use our special portal that within the savings themselves, you can save more than the cost of the membership. So as I mentioned, the market rate that a private college counselor would charge for the services is thousands of dollars. $10,000 is the higher end of the average. However, when we made this program, by doing everything online and basing it on a course, and then doing the personalized aspect of it through email, we can save a lot of costs. So what we teach is the same quality information, but for $997. That's the list price if you go to our website. But we're having a back to school sale that ends tonight, and part of why we decided to do the live stream today was to talk about that offer that ends tonight at midnight California time. If you're on the East Coast, you have till 3 a.m. That is a 50% off. So you can join with $497 or 3 payments of $197. If you're interested, you can go to the link in our bio in either TikTok or Instagram, or if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, there should be a link below the video description, right? So that is a 50% off back to school sale. Instead of paying $997, you can save yourself 50% of the course and pay only $497 or the 3 monthly payments. Again, I said that I would answer questions about the membership after we were done, but Laura, I don't know if you wanted to add something else about the program, about this back to school sale, about why it matters to join now rather than waiting a few months.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it in the presentation earlier on, specifically for my students who or parents who join us, who told us that their students are starting senior year or started senior year this year. It is valuable to join if your student's going to be a senior and you have questions. If you're wondering, well, is this going to help my student? Like you said earlier, there's still time to move those applications forward and to go to a great school, apply to great colleges, and potentially get accepted. There's still some time. So if you are maybe the parent of a student who is going to be a senior, who's a senior right now, we have had parents join, and families, because it's a family membership and everybody in the family gets access to Best College Aid. We've had parents who joined around this time of the year or even later, and they still managed to take advantage of all the benefits and get accepted into great schools. And also for my parents or students who are in 10th grade, I saw a couple of comments telling us that they were starting high school or going into sophomore year. The earlier you start planning and the earlier you start getting familiar with this process, the better. So I think this membership is really built so that anybody, regardless of maybe if you're starting since, you know, middle school, that's ideally, you know, where you want to start. Or if you are in the middle of high school, you're going to be taking away a lot of information and a lot of helpful tips, and a guide that will let you know what you have to be doing in order to go to a great school with scholarships. So again, you can access this discount, this back to school sale, 50% off by, if you're on Instagram and TikTok, if you're watching us there, the link is in our bio with this 50% off. And if you are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, the link to this discount is in this video's description, and I will share it in just a second. But yeah, Francisco, you want to go ahead and read some of the comments?
Yeah, one of the comments, Shimu was asking how to know or how to apply to generous schools. Again, inside the program, that is as easy as just following our tutorials. Step 1, you go to this website. Step 2, this is how you apply the filters. But basically what you want to do is you want to base it on the history of the school, whether it's through search engines so that we teach step by step inside the program, or whether it's by publicly available data that they release on their websites. Basically, the trick is how to, or let's only apply to schools that have a track record in the recent years of satisfying at least 75% of the demonstrated financial need of a household. And then if they go below that, typically we advise against recognizing it, against applying to it. And that is how we navigate this process with our students, while we teach them inside Best College Aid. Let's see another question that I see on Instagram. Let's see if we have any. Again, this should be more related to the membership. For how long can a student hold an acceptance into a university if decided not to go to that following term right after the high school graduation? That will depend on the type of terms in which you were accepted. Some schools will have fine print that they will tell you the specifics, okay? And again, these types of consultations that are more personal, it's something that we can go dive deeper into inside the membership. Sunflower, do you think that being in a summer camp for 1 week and we're able to touch a cadaver is strong extracurricular? Yeah, anything related to the field that you want to go study into will be of a lot of importance. But that is something very hyper specific. Inside the program, we teach more about, okay, what are the basis of what an extracurricular should include so that a university values it as much as it can, what you should be doing, the extracurriculars should be involved in, how long to enroll in them, the positions that matter the most for certain majors, for certain schools. So again, something we can expand more inside the program, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just give one last reminder. If you want to learn more about the program, what it includes, you can have it in front of you by visiting the link in our profile on Instagram and TikTok. On YouTube, you can check the comments and it will be right there inside the video description as well. And if you have any questions, then again, go visit the link. A lot of them will be answered them. And you can get in touch with us if it's not clear after that. But whether it is inside the program that expires with the 50% off back to school sale today, or whether it is through our live streams, we'll stay in touch. Hopefully this was good value information for you all. And yeah, we'll stay in touch on social media or inside the program.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your, weekend, because tomorrow's Friday. Happy back to school, and maybe we'll see you inside of Best College Aid, hopefully. And if not, we'll see you around. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.